This is our only chance. We have to take it. We need Kong. The world needs him to stop what's coming. And this child, she's the only one he'll communicate with.
I knew that they had a bond. She had nowhere to go, so I made a promise to protect her. And I think that in some way, Kong did the same. It's Godzilla.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special new release episode of Not Your Father's Movies. I'm Vito.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Jesse. And I personally am coming at you with some big Godzilla energy. I don't know about Vito and Mike, though.
I am here full Godzilla. I've been hearing so much pro Kong, and I just want to come out and say Kong is fine. Kong is okay. I love Godzilla.
Personally, I'm here with some Mecha-Zilla energy right now. You guys are going to have to defeat me together. Wait, no, you can't defeat me because you're both Godzilla, so I'm going to win.
I think two Godzillas would have had no problem with Mecha Godzilla.
No.
I'm just going to say...
Wow. Yeah. You know, it's funny. We had talked on this pod about doing spoilers, and then, like, right out of the gate.
It's in all the trailers. Come on. Anyway, today we are covering, of course, our new release came out late March. And then to streaming services here in early April. It's Godzilla versus Kong, the fourth in the Monsterverse series of movies. A series of movies, a franchise that I consistently forget exists. But there's four movies in it?
That's kind of amazing. I kind of like die a little bit inside saying it's the Monsterverse, but also it's also cool.
The corporate branding is it's Legendary Pictures Monsterverse. So if that makes you feel any better.
I think it's the exact opposite of that, actually.
Yeah, they're in association with Warner Brothers. I don't know if that...
Is that a part of the official name?
I would love it if it was. Up on the marquee it says Legendary Pictures Monsterverse Godzilla versus Kong in association with Warner Brothers.
It's great.
But that's the movie we're talking about today. We all watched it and we all were kind of like, hey, you know what would be really fun is talking about something that is very classically dad, which is kind of a garbage monster movie. And I think that's what we have right here.
Oh, in spades.
Maybe I can just walk us through, because I think maybe for the average listener that doesn't just watch all new movies because they're new movies like myself, then, which is, by the way, a disease and no one should ascribe to that. Maybe I can just walk us through the history briefly. As I mentioned, this is the fourth film in the Legendary Pictures Monsterverse in association with Warner Brothers Entertainment.
Good job. Nice.
Thank you. Nice. I nailed it. Previous ones being, the first one is Godzilla from 2014, which is a reboot directed by Gareth Edwards, kind of a horror monster director himself.
Did any of us see that
I saw it in
one?
theaters, yeah. It's really boring.
That's what I heard, which is why I avoided it.
It's wildly boring, but is filmed actually very close to where some of us have lived in the past. So that's kind of fun.
Interesting.
Yeah. I remember being so excited because I love Godzilla and going to theaters to see that. And I remember sitting for, I think, probably about an hour and 20 minutes watching Bryan Cranston and Aaron Taylor-Johnson have a father-son thing, a lot of drama, not talking. And every time Godzilla came on the screen, they found a reason to shut a door so you couldn't see him. And that was really annoying. And then like the final 15 minutes are like, it's Godzilla. And you're like, yes, it's the movie. And then the movie's over. And you go, wow, that was the opposite of a fun tease. I did not enjoy that.
Wow. That's awful.
Yeah, people really like it, though. I don't really know why, because I have not wanted to return to it.
Interesting.
But anyway.
Interesting.
Then we get Kong
Maybe they
Skull
didn't have a
Island.
budget.
Sorry?
They probably didn't have a budget to animate or to pay Godzilla to come on.
They had a huge budget. It was enormous, and they spent a lot of it on like soldier stuff.
But Godzilla, his price tag's pretty big. You know, his contract is always very large, and he has to make at least $10 million every minute he's on screen.
I have to tell you that he does come with a substantial price tag, but he will waive it if you feed him with the blood of innocence.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's like a little rider on his contract.
How much blood does he need to subsist?
It depends on how much screen time he has. You know.
Interesting.
Sometimes the whole city of San Francisco needs to.
Sometimes.
Are there any innocents in the city of San Francisco?
I think San Francisco would say so. Moving on. Unless you have something.
But also, it sounds very much like they tried to make like a Cloverfield sort of movie, which was a big deal back in the day, and did only show the monster for a whopping total of like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't ever get like a clear picture of the monster, do you?
Not until the very, very end, and it's quite grainy.
Very
quite grainy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cool movie.
That one's cool. We should cover that sometime.
We should cover that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's 2014. In 2017, 3 years later, we get Kong Skull Island. This one directed by Jordan Vogt Roberts, who actually has directed a movie that Mike likes a lot, Kings of Summer.
Really? That's by him?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a great movie.
Are we going to cover it someday?
We're definitely going to cover that sometime.
I've never seen it.
That's definitely a dad movie.
Wow.
Like, straight up.
Wow.
Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you'd like Kong Skull Island.
So now we're going to talk about Kings of Summer. It is awesome. Like that scene when he's hitting the thing.
I have not seen it.
Yeah, okay, it's a good one.
I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, that's
what? Oh my gosh, dude. Oh, all right. Well, we're going to talk about it.
Now
I'm
I
really
have to
excited
watch
for you
it.
guys to see it. Oh, it's so good.
Cool.
Yeah, me too. Because I did watch Skull Island, and I really, really liked Skull Island. Way more than I thought I would. I thought it was going to be a really dumb monster movie, and instead it was like a Vietnam sort of throwback with some horror involved. It was way more gruesome than I thought it was going to be, and way more horror-esque than I thought it was going to be. And it was great. I really liked that one. It had the perfect balance between monster and humans trying to accomplish their mission. The whole movie.
Absolutely agreed. Yeah, it's definitely far and away my favorite of these Monsterverse films, and I kind of wish that we go back
Pictures Monsterverse in association with Warner Brothers Film is what you mean.
Warner Brothers Entertainment, Mike. Yes, that's what I mean. Because remember, they're a multi-branded content company. So
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
But I love Skull Island. I think it's so impressive. I think the stuff that's going on there visually is just not something that we really see a lot, and it's thrilling. You're right about the horror. I love the crazy, nasty monsters and the crazy, gnarly stuff that they do to the people. It's fantastic.
Yeah, they do regurgitate a little more than I had wanted, because I was feeling a little sick at the time and I was watching it. I was like, "Oh, this is not what I need."
But Tom Hiddleston slicing through like weird little demon creatures wearing a gas mask with a ninja sword—that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, dude, that cast is so amazing. It's Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson. You know what? Let's not get too into that one. Amazing cast, great movie. But there's also a third movie, which is Godzilla, King of the Monsters, which came out in 2019.
Mm-hmm. Directed by Michael Dougherty, who's also a big horror writer himself. And I'll get to him a little bit later in the writers section. But it is the least successful of these. And I say that having Godzilla be so boring, at least Godzilla's it's a movie that has a clear beginning, middle, and end with characters that have arcs that make sense. And King of the Monsters is a very flimsy excuse to have Godzilla fight multiple monsters.
Man, it's such an ambitious plot that is not able to have its fulfillment happen, basically. But like, it's a really cool idea, and it's got so many cool ideas, and it's not really able to focus on any of them. And sometimes it focuses on the humans way too much rather than Godzilla battling 50 monsters like it should have been.
And that's like the main criticism against all of these, with the exception of Kong Skull Island, is there's just too much of the people. There's too much of the human characters. You either need way more and have it make sense, or way, way less, because they're given nothing to do. I mean, you have like Vera Farmiga and Charles Dance like playing eco-terrorists in King of the Monsters, but it doesn't make any sense and you really hate them.
I really loved I kind of loved that human story in Godzilla King of the Monsters. I loved the fact there's this crazy cult that wants to bring back the monsters because they make life wherever they go, apparently. And so they want to bring them all back. And they are the ancient gods, and they say they own Earth. Let's bring them all back and, F humanity. That's
but
a cool
way
idea.
More boring than what you just described.
It is. They choose the most boring way for it to happen, and that's what makes the movie sink. It's like, cool idea. That is a terrible way to bring that about, though.
I think the only real standout from that is Kyle Chandler and Millie Bobby Brown and their relationship. I remember that being compelling in some way. But that wraps up all of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to Godzilla versus Kong 2021, directed by Adam Wingard, who we'll get into him in a second. I just want to mention where this sits in our chronology. This is the 36th film in the Godzilla franchise, the 12th in the King Kong franchise, and the 4th Godzilla movie completely produced by a Hollywood studio, as the 1998 Godzilla, directed by Roland Emmerich, has been rebranded as Zilla, who is a completely separate character and not Godzilla, and the Toho company has done that. Because the Toho company owns Godzilla, they had this huge plan for there to be a bunch of American Godzilla movies, and when that movie did not perform as they wanted to, they rebranded the character and said, this is a separate thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Whoa, that's the 98
yes,
Godzilla?
That character is now known...
The one with Matthew
That
Broderick?
one is now known as... The movie is Godzilla, but the character is now Zilla, a completely separate character.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, that blows my mind a little bit. That is like... Even though everybody says that movie sucks, and I'm sure it does, because I haven't watched it in 10 plus years. I still love that movie.
I'm right there with you. I love that movie so much. I can't wait to talk about it at some point, because I also haven't seen it in 10 plus years. But I've seen it a bunch. I think me prior to being, 12, saw that movie 30 times.
Yeah. And a bunch of adults kept telling me that this wasn't good. Maybe my parents. And I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Obviously the best movie
It's Godzilla.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it someday.
Yeah. Seeing the giant footprint on the news screen is like, oh, the monster's coming.
And that screech, that unique Godzilla screech that's not been in anything else. Yeah. Maybe that's why. I mean, the Toho company has owned Godzilla since the 1950s. It's their character. They are very choosy with who gets to use it, which I like. That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
That's why King Kong has 12 movies and Godzilla has 36. So bringing us to this movie, though, after all that, we have Adam Wingard directing. His previous credits are mostly horror. He was a big breakout star because he directed You're Next and The Guest within about 4 years of each other. And those are very, very good indie horror movies.
Okay.
They're really fantastic. Very, very fun. And then proceeded to make 2 movies that people really don't like, which was the continuation of the Blair Witch franchise under the guise of a completely different name. And only on opening night, when you went into the theater and sat down, did it tell you that it was a Blair Witch movie, which is a cool thing. It's not a very good movie.
What was the name?
I don't remember. It was something really, it was like The Woods, I think.
Oh.
It was like
and
The
then
Woods.
It came out that it was actually Blair Witch.
And everyone was so excited, though, because it was just on Adam Wingard's name.
Yeah.
And then you sit down to a movie called The Woods, and on the screen comes up Blair Witch.
Interesting.
Big moment. Really
That
crazy.
is a big moment. And it just went downhill from there.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Yeah.
But after that, he also has the Death Note remake based on the anime, which was based on the manga that is very deeply beloved.
Right.
And that one is not very good either. I don't know how you think you can condense 5 hours of story into an hour and a half Netflix movie. He tried. He did try. But the writer's room has a previous favorite and future favorite, Terry Rossio.
Terry Rossio.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, Terry.
Wink, wink.
Nudge, nudge.
As well as most of other classic adventure films from our childhood. Michael Dougherty is also as a story credit. He's got Krampus. He also did a writing on X2, Superman Returns, X-Men Apocalypse, and then also his previous film, Godzilla King of Monsters. So he's really known for getting in these big rooms.
Yeah.
With varying success.
Huh.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the part that I never like. I don't know.
Maybe, but I don't think there's really anything wrong with X2, right? X2 is pretty much like a classic in our book. We're going to do it someday, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
X2 was baller.
I think so.
And then X-Men Apocalypse is the one that we just really dread and never want to watch again.
Yep. Yeah.
The third story by credit is from Zach Shields, who's a frequent collaborator with Doherty. Screenplay credits are Eric Pearson, who shares a writing credit on Thor Ragnarok and Black Widow, which is interesting. Big year for that guy.
Yeah.
And Max Borenstein, who has a writing or story credit on all of the Monsterverse movies. That is the only person that I can tell that has a hand in all of them, which is interesting because they're so wildly different. Anything else to say about these makers before we get into cast?
No, I got nothing. I got nothing.
I got absolutely nothing.
Okay. So we got Alexander Skarsgård starring Skarsgård. Am I saying
Skarsgård.
Favorite.
Yep. He's brother of Pennywise the Clown, and of Gustav and Walter Skarsgård also, who are his brothers.
Yep.
Pennywise is his brother.
Pennywise is his brother. They've got a fun family.
They do.
Yeah. All over the place.
I feel like the Skarsgårds just show up wherever in like every single movie. I don't know. I always feel like, oh, there's another Skarsgård.
Yep.
Well, they're all the son of
Mad Eye Moody himself.
Mad Eye Moody himself, and an incredible actor, Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Like, anything that's good, he like shows up in it for a moment. You're like, oh,
eventually,
it's him. Yeah.
I really like him because he's in everything that's dumb.
Yes.
Like the original Thor.
Yeah.
But then he's also like a very serious and respected actor who starred in the original Insomnia that Christopher Nolan remade.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh wow, this guy's an actor. An actor.
But he's in like weird Danish movies as well. And
I think is he Danish or
Oh, I don't know.
I just want to know.
We asked the question. We can't just let that go unanswered.
Exactly.
Dutch is people who live in Dutchland.
Yeah, that's what I know. And Hollish people are from Holland.
Yes, there we go.
Man, his IMDb photo is oh man, guys, for all of our viewers, his IMDb photo, just look it up. It looks normal at first if you look at the top half, and then he's not wearing.
Yeah, Alexander Skarsgård in his underwear and a tuxedo.
What was that from?
I don't
know.
Like,
is that just what he does?
I have no idea, but that is very interesting because I thought it was just a normal picture. But to answer the question of where he's from Stockholm,
Swedish.
We were all wrong.
Swedish. Apologies, we are Americans and therefore utterly ignorant of Europe.
The world at large.
We really try, guys. We really try.
Hey, at least we know that Dutchland is a real place.
Yeah, exactly. Writers from Dutchland, please tell us. But that picture of him in a tuxedo and underwear is actually a nice springboard to talk about the actor Alexander himself, because he works constantly. He is in everything all the time, just like his father. He's good at comedies. He's good at horror movies. He's good at action movies. He's good at drama. Like he gets his big break in Generation Kill. You remember that HBO miniseries from back when?
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And deeply upsetting. Yeah. And he's very good in it. But then he does stuff like Melancholia for Lars von Trier with Kirsten Dunst. He does Zoolander 2. He's also in War on Everyone from the other McDonough brother.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Him and Michael Pena. And he's also in the upcoming Robert Eggers film, The Northman. I'm very excited about. Very cool. That one's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. I can't wait.
Yeah.
But coming next, we got Millie Bobby Brown. We all know Millie Bobby Brown.
You mean 11? 11 has become a really good actress as she's grown up playing a girl in real life named Millie Bobby Brown, who is also an actress. It's this really interesting thing that she's doing. I think it's only because of her mind control powers that she's able to do it, really.
Yeah. Are you saying that she has a surrogate that she's controlling who is Millie Bobby Brown?
No. She is acting as Millie Bobby Brown. She is wearing a wig, though.
Yeah. We all need that. I feel bad for her dad. I hope Hopper comes back.
Yeah, I hope he comes back, too.
But she's in Stranger Things. We all know her. She's also very good in Enola Holmes. Did you guys see that?
I didn't see it. I heard it was really good.
No.
Like I'm not
fun.
That huge. Like Sherlock Holmes kind of peaked for me in like season 3 of Sherlock.
Yeah,
and so I didn't watch it, but it's on the list because I hear it's very good.
They're radically different interpretations.
Yeah.
It's Henry Cavill is him. He's very good,
which is like a weird thing to do because Henry Cavill is better looking than I'd imagine Sherlock Holmes to be.
Better looking than Robert Downey Jr.?
Yes.
Jesse,
unqualifiedly.
Is Henry Cavill better looking than Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah.
Yes. Your taste in men is very odd.
Henry Cavill. Yeah. Henry Cavill has like the classic, just like sheer male beauty, which is why he's Superman.
I guess
he is the Ubermensch.
Buddy. I I guess it just was always just found Robert Downey more attractive. Maybe it's like a personality thing. He's got personality in his face. And Henry Cavill kind of looks a little smooth.
That's true.
I don't know. Listeners, write in. Who's hotter, Henry Cavill or Robert Downey Jr.?
We need to know. We should ask our wives.
We should ask our wives.
We should have our wives write in. There we go.
They need to tell us.
Yeah.
And that way I need to know if I need to become more acerbic and witty or more buff and gruff. That'll tell me.
Yeah. Yeah. This will be an interesting thing to find out.
We'll do it.
We'll let you all know. Maybe.
Well, I also want to mention some people that we have awarded previous accolades to before. We have Rebecca Hall here from previous episode, The Prestige, playing a character.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's who that was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's like Rebecca Hall. Oh, Rebecca Hall.
Yeah, one of the three women in The Prestige.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
The one that didn't die until a little bit later.
That's right.
But she's also a pretty versatile actress. She's in future episode The Town. I'm just calling it right now. We're doing The Town, guys.
Great.
We're going to have to. Also, Iron Man 3, Vicky Cristina Barcelona. And I just want to shout out one of my favorites, Red Riding, The Year of Our Lord, 1974. It's fantastic. She's in it with Andrew Garfield. It's incredibly depressing.
I've
really,
never even
really
heard
beautiful.
of this movie.
It's really good.
Yeah?
I'll loan it to you. I have it on DVD.
Oh, I'd love, yeah.
And I'll send it to you too, Jesse. If you want to watch something super depressing.
Okay.
I promise you it's super depressing.
Well, when I'm in the mood, yeah.
Dude, nothing makes me happier than being just really sad.
It's the first of a trilogy of increasingly sad movies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They're really upsetting. But then we have Brian Tyree Henry, previous award winner for Best Dad Speech in Into the Spider-Verse. We love Brian Tyree Henry.
Oh, yeah.
You mean Paperboy, right?
I Paperboy, stacking up that Paperboy. Yes, I do. He's also Paperboy in Atlanta.
So good. He's so good, man.
That's really
We'll be talking about him later this year when he's in Eternals.
Yeah, that's right.
And then also Bullet Train. I'm making you guys do Bullet Train whenever that comes out. Brad Pitt plays an assassin on a train full of other assassins. So
sounds great. I'm in.
Last guy I want to mention before we get to our breakout star is Shun Oguri, who is a pretty well-known, very hardworking actor in Japan and is just kind of making his breakthrough into American cinema with this Godzilla vs. Kong. He's been in a ton of movies. He has so many credits in Japan. This man works tirelessly. And unfortunately, the only thing I really have seen and know him from is his voice work in the video game Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. He's very good in that. I think he's kind of underserved here. But
yeah, he doesn't get much.
I kind of hope he has more of a career because it's clear he works very hard.
Yeah.
And I would like to dig into some of the other stuff he's done.
Cool.
Real quick, before we go to the breakout star, I did want to shout out Isaac Gonzalez, who we will bring up in a future episode in Baby Driver, which comes out next week. It does. It comes out next week, and we bring her up. And I can't remember if we mentioned her in this, but yeah, she's in this. And she is hardly in this, but she deserves a shout out because we mentioned
she does. And she's much better in Baby Driver because she has so much more to do.
Yeah, she actually has something to do with Baby Driver rather than, I don't know what she's doing here. And then there's Kyle Chandler, who is that guy who I always recognize. I'm like, oh, it's him. It's that classic dad actor who acts so dad and usually plays a dad.
I think it's actually in his contract. He must play a father.
He plays a father here. He's also in the new miniseries Catch-22 as Colonel Cathcart, who's the main guy. He makes some appearances in Family Guy, and then he's also been in Super 8 and Argo, Zero Dark 30, The Spectacular Now. This guy's been in a lot of stuff.
You're missing the really big one, dude. It's Friday Night Lights. It's Friday Night Lights. It's Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
We're going to do Friday Night Lights at some point. That's one of the few sports movies I actually really enjoy. And the show is heartbreaking in its own way. But you're right. He is like a classic dad actor. And it's weird running down his list of movies because you're going, I've seen that. I've seen that. I've seen that. Oh, holy cow. Have I seen everything this guy's been in?
Probably. Yeah.
Thank you for calling those out. I had kind of waffled on whether to include them. And I just love that you came through in the last minute with them. I appreciate it.
I'm here for you.
But we got to talk about our breakout star. Playing Gia is this little girl who I believe is 9, although it's a little hard to track down her exact birthday.
And that's
It is.
good.
Yes, that's very good.
Grow up outside of Hollywood. But it's Kaylee Hoddle. Kaylee Hoddle. This is her first official credit outside of being in a few commercials. She comes from 4 generations of deaf relatives on her father's
Wow.
side. She herself is deaf.
Yeah.
And that's I would be amazed if a 9-year-old gave this performance, but with the added layer of her being able to communicate in sign language with Kong and be so present and emotional with everyone on the screen at all times. This is an astounding performance.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, like, spoilers for what I'm gonna say next, not for the movie, but I find almost all these performances very half-hearted, and then hers is just like, she makes me buy Kong as a character because she represents Kong in a lot of ways throughout the entire movie. She really sells it. She's the best actress in this entire movie.
For sure. I think that she has just the field is wide open now. She's in one of the most successful films to come out during the COVID-19 pandemic. She's in a movie that's helping to relaunch theater going. It's the biggest opener for HBO Max thus far. And she's a pivotal key role. Like, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of her. I hope so.
I would hope so too. Yeah, especially with A Sound of Metal, we have seen like a rise in people who speak sign language or ASL in Hollywood movies. So I hope she's a part of that surge.
Yeah, she says her favorite actress. I don't remember the actress's name, unfortunately. That's my bad. That's my ignorance. And I hope to kind of correct that. But her favorite actress is also a deaf actress. And I like that she is already at a young age kind of looking up towards those that have come before that have dealt with this deafness in a really beautiful way and become great artists. All right. So I think that wraps up kind of everyone that we want to talk about at this juncture in cast and crew. We had to mention a lot of people because there's just a lot of people here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people we've talked about.
Yeah. And a lot of stuff that this like connects to in general, which is interesting. It's always interesting.
It is, into this Legendary Pictures Monsterverse in association with Warner Brothers Entertainment. But talking about our first impressions of Legendary Pictures Monsterverse in association with
Warner Brothers
Godzilla versus Kong. Jesse, what are your first impressions of this movie?
We're giving star ratings now, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna come out and say that I rate this movie, and I've fluctuated between like 2 or 2.5 stars, and I'm gonna settle on 2.5. It's like it deserves like a 50% effort, because 50% effort was given to almost all the effort in this movie is given to Kong and Godzilla and their fight in Hong Kong, and sort of with their fight on the boats, because they have like 2 fights.
I love that fight on the boat. That fight on the boat's awesome. Sorry.
The fight on the boat is good. It's a little short. But there's like, oh man, I don't really know what they're doing the entire time. There's a lot of like, we have to do this thing, and it's like, why? I don't know why we're here. Just like, is there really no other option? Did you guys like go over your list and decide like, oh yeah, we have to confirm the Hollow Earth theory is real? Like, of all the things, I don't know why this has to be it. Why does this have to power your robot? I don't know.
Or how. Also, the how is a difficult question for me.
Yeah, it's not only that we have MacGuffins, it's the fact that we don't know what the MacGuffins do, period.
Well, it's just
it's not just that we don't know why they work.
Take the power and they upload it into the cloud, and then they download it from the cloud into the computer. That's everyone knows you can do that.
Yes,
because everybody knows you could just take power and download it from the internet.
No one really understands why
my electricity bill would be so cheap.
That's why I haven't paid for electricity in like a decade. I'm just downloading it from the cloud. You guys are friggin' morons.
You wouldn't download electricity.
You wouldn't download a boat. You wouldn't download King Kong.
You gotta use a VPN, but then you get that free electricity, you know?
Yeah, that's it. You gotta have the VPN. That's it. The VPN.
Oh man. So this movie has great fight scenes. It's great to see King Kong and Godzilla there on screen, and that is actually phenomenal. They did a great job with that. and then the rest is like kind of insulting to my intelligence. And all these actors are giving like half-hearted performances and given half-assed lines. Besides Kaylee Hoddle, so 2.5.
Fair. How about you, Mike? How do you respond to Jesse's 2.5?
Ooh, I'm gonna make a hot take here and say I give it 3 stars.
Hot damn!
3 stars. 3 stars. This was so much fun. I had such a good time. It had so many issues, but it was just very, very fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I got to see the wind ripple through Kong's fur so much.
Yes.
It was beautiful.
Yes.
It was beautiful.
It is
Does he use
great.
L'Oreal? That's what I
Yeah.
want to know.
I think he must.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the only way to get those.
Or maybe
those
it's
rippling
Maybelline.
waves. Oh, maybe.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Honestly, my favorite Kong rippling though is when he gets wet and he shakes it off and you see the drops slowly falling, but they're not. It's like actual gravity. It's actual physics. That's the way it would look on such a big character, and it looks so awesome. I love that.
It is really cool. It's really cool. People, almost everyone gives like a half-hearted job acting in this movie, but I actually thought Alexander Skarsgård, he put more into it than most of the other actors besides Keely Hoddle.
I think that in the second place of actors who gave the most shits about being in this movie, I think that has to go to Brian Tyree Henry. He did not
That's
need
true.
to bring
That's
so
true.
much energy and be so manic and crazy,
It
but
was
he
so
did,
great.
and he did it for us.
He did. It was amazing. It was so much fun. He is awesome.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, the kid,
The bad guy from Deadpool 2 and the kid from The Hunt for the Wilder People.
the kid from the Hunt
Yeah.
for the Wilder People. I love that guy.
Yeah. Hang on.
Oh wait, dude,
Yeah,
that's
that's
who
who that was. Julian, or is Julian's name in the Hunt for the Wilder People?
I think it is. I didn't mention
remember his
him
name.
because I didn't remember his name in the movie, and he doesn't do anything except
No.
spill whiskey on the console at the end. I thought the only
I
reason
thought
didn't
it was
mention him.
funny though. Like he goes in like, oh, I'm gonna hack it. He's like, no, I'm gonna type in everything that I can think of that could be a password.
Password. Nope. Password with a capital P. Nope. Password with a capital P and an A. Nope.
Oh, it's locked.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
If it was an iPhone, these computer systems have less security than an iPhone.
What about you? What about you, Vito?
Are you looking up his
I
name?
am.
We can get his name later. What about you? How many stars did you give it?
I give it 3.
Yeah.
I give it 3 on the basis that I have been watching these movies when it wasn't cool to watch these movies. I love giant monsters. That's something I got from my dad.
You hipster.
I love monsters. Monsters, and I think my daughter's getting this too, which is funny because I haven't showed her any monster movies, but she's obsessed with monsters.
Huh.
We don't watch monster things because I'm a good father and she's very young, and I show her like Little Bear and Franklin, and we watch Disney movies. But when we're watching Sleeping Beauty, she's kind of focused on the dragon. She's just drawn immediately to these strange beasts. And that's what I recognize from when I was a kid with my dad. And we watched monster movies almost exclusively, like sci-fi stuff. And
Does she like Fantastic Beasts? And does she wonder where to find them?
no, I haven't told her where because that would entail me diving in the trash can. I don't like those movies. No, so I give it 3 based on just my love for seeing giant creatures on screen. I have seen when I was a kid the old Kong versus Godzilla, which is fun and has its own sort of charm to it.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, seeing our technology in real life, seeing the scale, right, the scope of how big these things are and what they do to their environment, it was so exciting for me.
Cool.
And what I did, so I watched the whole movie once, and then in preparation to talk about this, I watched it again. But then I just fast forwarded all the parts that Kong or Godzilla wasn't in, and it was a way better movie. And I got through it really quickly.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
That is actually exactly why I gave it 2.5 stars, because right before I did the podcast, I just fast forward to all the fight scenes, and it is so great.
Yeah, it's great because it's like that's what I came here for. It's in the damn title. That's all I want. And I also realized there's complete 15-minute sections where nothing is really happening and everyone's discussing Hollow Earth or discussing batteries or discussing how bad Apex Corporations is, and also the podcasting that
or traveling to
it
Hong
takes so
Kong?
long. The
It
endless
actually takes
podcast
them
episodes.
no time at all to travel to Hong Kong. I just want to point that out.
It just took
They
me
get
a
there
long time
real
watching it.
No,
fast.
but it took forever to sneak in, to find the place to go to Hong Kong, accidentally to go to
Yep.
Hong Kong, where they do absolutely
Yeah,
nothing.
it's a lot, but
Well,
I still
they pour the thing.
they do they pour
whiskey
they
on
pour the whiskey.
on the thing.
They pour the whiskey.
I mean, he kind of saves the day.
He does.
In the end.
He does, and that's I'm agreeing with you mostly. The thing is that this movie is ludicrously stupid in a way that I very much enjoy, because at least when I watched it the first time, I was not bored.
Yeah,
And that is
Cool.
not something I could say about the 2014 Godzilla. And I just give it a ranking over that. In King of Monsters with Godzilla, man, I was bored. Man, I was bored.
Lots of boring.
That was
parts.
really, and I was excited to see that because the cover is Godzilla fighting King Ghidorah, and it's like, yeah, that's what I want. You're gonna make me wait how long to see that? Yeah, 3 stars. Like this a good amount. Probably not gonna return to it, and so when I show it to my kids, they're gonna be older, like 10, 11, I think, and it's gonna be in this series of us watching them. We're going to do like the original Godzilla paired with the original one from back when, and then the 97 one, 98 one. And then if they still want to watch movies with me, then we'll proceed.
Awesome.
How about you, Jesse? When would you show this?
Oh, that's a good question. I was thinking a lot about this in one of our previous episodes. I think it's a Fantastic Mr. Fox episode. We brought up the age donut, or maybe
The
you wanna
donut.
show it to them for a certain age. Leave a gap in there where you don't want to show them because they're emotionally mature enough to recognize the concept. And then when they are emotionally ready, then you actually show them the movie with full understanding of what's going on. I want to invert that, though. I think this is an age donut hole.
I love it. I love it.
I think because with this particular movie, it's a PG-13, and it's a hard PG-13. There's lots of violence, lots of ripping off,
Drinking
heads,
blood.
fighting and clawing. Yeah, drinking blood. There's lots of violence, so it's not something I want to show a little kid. But it's also not something I want to show my teenagers, because I know if I show this movie to my teenagers, they'll say, "Dad, this movie is dumb." Because like when you're a teenager, you just like, at least
I was going to say
for me,
specifically,
what
your
I
children
did-
will be like this.
specifically me and my children, like I used to love to latch on to like, things that were wrong with movies, and this has them in spades, and things that are just blatantly false, and continuity errors and all that. And they're so easy to pick out that any teenager would probably just have a field day with this if they were critical. So I think I would go for this sweet spot when they're like 11, 12, or 13. Something around there where I've shown them Godzilla movies prior or King Kong movies prior, so they have some sort of connection to this, and then show them this, because I think it'll blow their little minds and they won't care about anything else happening on screen. They probably won't even think about it. They won't think about the plot. They'll just accept what it is and really, really like it.
And I can't wait to see how scared my kids are going to be. Like these are big monsters. It's so violent. Like David on our past episode, Hellboy 2 pointed this out.
Yeah.
He's like, I just want to traumatize my kid. And I don't want to do that all the time. But for some things like monster movies, I was shown monster movies at an age when they would scare me.
Right.
And that was perfect. And I loved it. And I returned to them over and over to get that thrill like a
Amazing.
roller coaster.
It's amazing.
And I can't wait to give that to my kid too. Like it's a little bit too much for you to handle, but you're still loving it. That donut hole you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point too, because it's like you're pushing them a little bit over the edge. It's
Yeah.
like you got to kind of throw the kid in the pool
Yeah.
at a certain point. At a certain point,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like they can swim,
And
but they
I
don't
think at
believe
10 years old-
themselves yet.
Yeah. And I think at like 10 years old, that's when you can hit the point where like they're starting to like accept their teenagehood, but they're definitely still 10 years old. So they're still definitely children. Where like seeing hyper realistic images of a giant gorilla in the streets of Hong Kong will probably be really terrifying, but also they'll probably have emotional maturity enough to sweep it under the rug, but still push their boundaries a bit.
Yeah,
Because in the end, it's
Yeah,
a
I
giant
agree with
monkey, right?
yeah.
It's a giant monkey and it's a giant lizard. Mike, given the donut hole, when would you show this to your kids? if you would.
I mean, I don't really like. I'm not going to go out of my way to show this to my kids. I don't. I thought it was fun, but I think a lot of things are fun. And if if it came up, if like they started getting into sort of monster movies, like this will be fun. I'd say probably around 10ish is around when that would be possible. And like maybe we'll start doing that and be like, hey, these are fun movies. Like we're gonna have like big movie night with dad or something.
Yeah.
But I kind of wonder if this is the sort of movie that like I'm in a nursing home and like they're like, hey, or I'm 70 years old and it's just like I'm living with one of my kids and all that we can do together now is watch movies. And so he's just like, hey dad, I got this movie from when you were like really young, like Godzilla versus Kong. Like you've talked about this when you were sort of wandering. And we watch it and they're like, huh.
like Charles Xavier style, just Mad Lib
exactly.
rattling off theories on Hollow Earth.
Exactly. That might be more when I show this to my kids.
Interesting. That's a very Mike take.
We just spend like, a month watching monster movies because that's what we're doing.
Great. I mean, I just want to do that right now.
Fair. But I mean, I'll have time then.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm 90 years old or 110.
I like that you're just continually upping how old you'll be to have enough time to watch monster movies. Well, I think that closes out our usual first half of our show. Going into new releases, we're always going to kind of do this. We're going to give you what the movie is, kind of what it's about, what we think of it, and now we're going to move into a nice spoiler section. If you care, we will be talking about everything in this movie. If there's anything to spoil, which I'm not clear on.
Yeah, we haven't spoiled anything
Definitely already
at all.
We totally have spoiled most things already.
Like we've mentioned, there's Hollow Earth that comes into it. We mentioned there's Mechagodzilla, but all those are in the trailer.
That's true. Hollow Earth, guys.
Hollow Earth.
But Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
We need to go to Hollow Earth.
Can we go to Hollow Earth?
Or
I think we
maybe
need
Hollow Earth is the friends we made along the way.
I think we need a heave to go to Hollow Earth.
A heave-over.
Yeah. They have heaves. That's what they're called.
The
ship things.
Heaves.
Yeah. The pod racers
HEV.
that we get to go into there. Yeah.
They have like the blah, 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 right?
Yeah, which is cool. I like that.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it looked.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the flying cars in Star Wars Episode 2.
Yeah.
Because you always have the stream of light behind him.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah.
But things about Hollow Earth do not work. There's big trouble in Little Hollow Earth. There are many issues with this. One issue I'd like to mention that is coming to mind. I guess I'm not really clear on I get the concept because it starts with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle writing The Lost World back in the 19th century, who espoused this idea. I believe he meant it in a cool science fiction-y H.G. Wells-y kind of way.
But did he actually believe it?
I don't know, and I'm not going to speak to it.
Okay.
But at the center of the Earth, there was dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And you just had to get to the center of the Earth. So it's been around for a long time, this idea. And this one says that we need this special aircraft and that all these titans, these big creatures, are attracted to the source of all energy, Gaia, at the middle of the Earth. And they need to get there. And so they go to the Arctic, and then they swing through ice tunnels and then crash through a blue magic barrier, whereupon they're spit out into blackness. It feels like they're bungee jumping with the bungee connected to the lower intestine. Then they spit out on the other side. And at a certain point, while they're falling, gravity is reversed. And now on the outside of a globe that they're in, you see mountains that sort of mirror the mountains on the ground that they are also on.
It's like they're inside of a donut hole.
Yes.
They're on the inside of a donut hole.
They're in the middle of the donut hole. Yes.
I need to get some donuts.
So I have my main question with this is I don't understand the topography here. So there's no sky. The sky is more land. Okay. But then is the land that they're standing on flat, or is that also a globe?
It's also a globe. There are two globes.
So a globe within a globe. Okay.
Yeah. And what's really cool is, as you learn in the movie, you can transfer from one to the other. Like gravity will invert itself, like it did for them, which was the coolest part of that whole Hollow Earth
For sure.
sequence.
I loved Kong reaching up with his big old finger, poking a floating sky rock, and then being like, I'm going to jump. Gravity is going to reverse, and I'm going to land on the ceiling. That was cool.
Yeah. And also, it has to be stated that Hollow Earth looks beautiful.
It does look beautiful.
Like, it is probably so well... It is so well animated, guys. If you haven't seen it, it's amazing. It's like 2 Norways just stacked on top of each other, one on top and one on bottom, and it looks awesome. I love the way they animated it, but there's so much about it I never understood. Like, why is the sun shining down?
I don't.
What is the sun?
Yeah, but then another question that I had leading into my issue is, so in the center of the hollow of the Earth is Hollow Earth, right? And then, but what's in the center of Hollow Earth? What's in the hollow of the Hollow Earth? Is it a smaller Hollow Earth? Are there mini Titans in the smaller Hollow Earth?
So I got the impression that where the 2 mountains connect, and there's that like big finger pointing out that he touches.
Yeah.
No explanation for that. But
it just looks like a Michelangelo painting.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It is cool. Like, it's really cool. But there's those little rocks that are floating, and they're blue because energy is blue.
Yeah, I learned that from all superhero movies.
Yeah. Energy that is undefined is blue.
Mm-hmm.
And on each of do you think each of those are Earths that are hollow, and they each have their own Hollow Earth within?
That's a fascinating idea. It's not what I was saying.
Oh,
what I was saying is that so there's the ceiling that they have to jump onto,
right?
But the stuff they're standing on originally, if that's a globe too, what's in the middle of that globe?
Oh, I don't think it's a globe. It's not like 2 globes.
Jesse was saying it was a globe. He's saying it was a circle. It was a sphere within a sphere.
Yeah. Wait, like 2 globes?
Yeah.
Like
sphere
1, 2?
within a sphere.
Yeah. It's a sphere within a sphere.
I thought it was like you're on the inside of a ball, and you walk around on the inside of the ball.
But then how do they jump to the top?
Yeah, there's a ball, and then there's a ball outside of that ball, and you're on...
This is part of the problem.
I'm so confused.
You're on the
I thought I understood.
So, like, what they do is... Okay, so imagine there's Earth's crust, right? And the Earth's crust is like a layer that goes on for like 10 miles or whatever. And on the inside of the Earth's crust, there's a bunch of mountains and trees you can walk along. But then there's another core.
Oh.
There's another core inside of that. So that's why when you look at the Hollow Earth, their ceiling is a bunch of mountains and trees, which also has its own form of gravity. So if you get close enough to it, that will become your ground, and then the other sphere will become the ceiling. So like it's like there's 2 surfaces to walk around in this.
Did you watch this movie, Mike?
See, I'm still not convinced, though. I'm still not convinced that it's not like the Hollow Earth is like there's a hole in the center of the Earth, and they're just like walking around it. But rather than being like an actual circle, it's like a squashed circle. It's more like a donut.
Well, then it's the Kong reversing gravity in his jump to the ceiling.
Yeah, but it's like they're close enough. I don't even know how to do this without.
We need like models.
Yeah, we're showing each other our hands.
We're doing
to
a lot of
explain
hand
what we
shit
mean.
We're doing a lot of hand motions right now.
I don't know if we're going to be able to figure this out. I still think that I'm not necessarily wrong.
As usual.
As usual. No, not as usual. I don't think I'm right. I think I'm not necessarily wrong. You guys could be right, but I'm not fully 100%.
I'm willing to let it lie.
I am also. Okay. I don't think we're going to get very far with
because
this.
I don't think Hollow Earth makes sense.
It doesn't. Hollow Earth is a horrible name in the first place.
I want to let this lie, and then I want to bring up a couple ideas. One is that inside of the Hollow Earth, in the other sphere, which might disagree exist, there is going to be Pacific Rim aliens, which is how they're getting
makes
to
sense.
Earth through the little Pacific Rim portal. Because frankly, this movie sets up a Pacific Rim future pretty damn well, especially with the King Ghidorah skull thing, like mind controlling a giant robot.
We need some Jaegers hunting all these damn kaiju. You know what I mean? There's just too many of them, and they need to be exterminated. And what better way to fight a giant monster than with a giant monster who uses an ocean liner as a bat?
Dude, could you imagine like Kong and Godzilla versus I can't remember what the monsters are called.
The kaiju.
The
kaiju.
Rim.
Yeah.
The kaiju. Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah. Godzilla and Kong versus
pretty
kaiju.
cool.
That would be amazing.
I want it now.
I would
And
love
no human characters. I don't want any people. I just want them laying waste to each other across a vast.
Well, throw in that 3-armed robot. And
Oh, the 3-armed robot was really good, guys. We have to do a Pacific Rim episode. I know Jesse.
sure.
Jesse's been champing at the bit to do Pacific Rim for a while.
I do stupidly love that movie.
We'll have to do it. Do you like Uprising? I haven't seen Uprising.
I have not seen Pacific Rim Uprising. I haven't even seen Pacific Rim since it came out years ago because I had such a good time with that movie and I enjoyed it so much. But I know in my heart of hearts it's a dumb movie and I don't want to ruin those memories that we had when we saw it in theaters.
And those great memories were us seeing Pacific Rim in the theater together. It's a great time. What a good summer.
Yeah, so fun.
We canceled the apocalypse! Man, Stacker Pentecost, what a dad character.
All right. Moving on from Pacific Rim for just a second, I still have one more thing to bring up about Hollow Earth, which is namely that they just do the most boring thing imaginable with it. Instead of focusing on, all that cool scenery that we brought up, the crux of all of Hollow Earth is a giant empty room with a half-assed put together stone bench. That's it. That's all we got. That is Kong's throne. Like, they couldn't have thrown together anything more. It's just like half of a stone bench that he lounges on with like epic music playing in the background. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit. This is the lamest thing you could do with Hollow Earth.
I thought I thought that was a ledge on like a weird wall that had kind of broken off.
I was also confused for two reasons by that, because we saw Kong's dead family in Kong Skull Island. We saw all their bones like an elephant graveyards. They all died up there on Skull Island. Don't know why they're not in the middle of the earth. Don't know how Kong got on Skull Island. Maybe they explained it. They probably did.
Wait, was that his family? Because he takes the axe like out of the bones of one of the creatures. So like it seemed to me, I thought that it was like he had to like flee or something. Like he had killed all these creatures in his home.
Yeah, they do kind of explain it. They mentioned that evolutionary theory at the beginning, where that all things want to return from whence they came, basically.
Can't wait to become amoebas, guys. No, this is why everything evolves into crabs.
This movie specifically?
That's the theme of the movie. Everything evolves into crabs because we all want to return to where we started.
Interesting.
No, that's a thing. Look it up. It's a thing.
I will trust you, and I will look it up at a later
really
date.
Weird.
I promise.
Very confusing.
I promise. I'm making a note to do it now.
He's not making.
Okay.
It's interesting.
But the thing, so the problem I had is that all his family died up there, right? But then the previous film in Legendary Pictures Monsterverse, in association with Warner Brothers Entertainment, was called Godzilla, King of the Monsters. But it looks like Godzilla doesn't have a lot of use for axes. So are we saying then that an ancestor of Kong was king of monsters? And now, because Kong sits on the throne and gets the axe, now he's the king of monsters?
He's the king of Hollow Earth, dude.
So yeah, I think the implications are that there was a fight for the Hollow Earth like years ago, and then the Kongs, I guess there was a lot of them, probably. They all won, and then they made an axe out of one of the Godzilla's, or maybe the Godzilla's dorsal fin, and that's what they've been using to beat him up ever since.
You blew Mike's mind.
I did not realize it was a dorsal fin.
That's why it gets all charged up when he shoots it with the thing.
I didn't realize there was an explanation. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, this is just like how stuff works. Like, this doesn't need to. This movie isn't a movie where I'm like, I expect things to be explained to me. I'm like, no, I'll laugh about it for a couple.
There's
weeks,
a writer's room, including Terry Rossio, who worked really hard to make sure you could get an explanation for this stuff.
Yeah, there are some good explanations sometimes for some things, but there are a lot of... Man, there are so many issues with most of this lore, even though some of it is really cool. But, probably one of the biggest issues is maybe the fact that Godzilla and Kong, who have supposedly been like ancient enemies have not fought each other since Kong has been on Skull Island the entire time. Like, come on, you would think that there would be like a fight to the death. These like families have been fighting and feuding together for like millennia.
Or while he was on Skull Island since the 60s, and then Godzilla shows up in modern day, and you're like, well, where have you been?
Where have you been, buddy?
I don't.
You've been. Maybe he was down in Hollow Earth.
He could have been in Hollow Earth. Maybe that was when he was wrecking Kong's family. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. The timeline is sketchy, but returning to. I think the biggest issues with this movie are with the Hollow Earth, which is unfortunate because visually, as you mentioned, Jesse, it is the most stunning sequence. Besides a lot of the neon and the explosions in Hong Kong, there's something very imaginative and really cool. And they're really letting their freak flag fly with how dumb and ludicrous they allow this to get while treating it very, very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
And I really I like that a lot.
I think my favorite like action moment is in Hollow Earth.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff. But, dude, when he rips the head off of that freaking flying dragon thing and drinks its blood, that was so cool.
Slurps out the innards from the head.
I jumped up from the couch, just like, yeah! My whole family's asleep. What's going on?
Oh, no. Godzilla just ate the innards of that monster's head like a pineapple.
It was really cool. This was amazing. I can't believe I just got to see this in a movie that was made for everybody.
Yes. That was my second place one.
Yeah.
I love that, especially because he slurps it down, clearly eating the brains and what is the tongue, probably.
Yeah.
Right. And then he just casts aside the skull and is like, you're like, I hope that was tasty. And everyone in the ship is like visibly disgusted.
Like that poor girl was just like totally disturbed. She's grown up with this sweet, like King Kong, who's like nice to her and whatever. And then she's like, oh, he drinks a surprisingly large amount of fluid out of a head.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Regularly. Like this is his thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
He did some pretty messed up stuff on Skull Island. You got to watch it.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember Jesse in Skull Island when he eats that squid?
Yeah, he eats the squid and then he slurps it down like it's ramen.
Yeah, and it's like fighting him, and he's like, "Nope, you're going down. I'm eating you."
What was your favorite? What was your first favorite action moment?
It is when. Because I'm a Godzilla guy, I love that Godzilla kicks the tar out of King Kong on the ships. And when they clearly enunciate in the Hong Kong fight that King Kong has won round 2, I really appreciated the movie keeping score for me so that I would know that at this point they're evenly matched and that no one has been done dirty, right?
Yeah.
What I did love is that the definitive answer for who would win in Godzilla versus Kong in the movie is it's Godzilla. Godzilla whoops Kong's ass in the ocean and on the land, and he stands on his chest, and he roars at him and spits on him for so long that he cracks Kong's ribs. That's my favorite moment, because I saw my king, I saw my lord, I saw the one who I'd follow into battle, standing victorious over his foe, and I cheered. How you doing, Mike? He's my liege. I am a member of the Order of Zilla.
Wait, I thought that was a different character.
It is. I'm a member of that order, and I love this. Godzilla.
Okay.
I do.
All right.
But Jesse, who, given that you were also a member of the Brotherhood of Zilla, what was your favorite action moment?
Okay, so even though I am a member of Zilla, I've got to say my favorite part of the fight scenes were King Kong, especially that whole sequence, that beginning sequence in Hong Kong, because Kong is such a dynamic and interesting fighter, whereas Godzilla, all he does is he bites and then he blows lasers, right? And then King Kong, he is like the entire time just trying to like prevent frantically Godzilla from like shooting that atomic beam out. And so what he does is when he first starts charging up slowly to do the beam, like he bounces against a building and flies off of it and does this amazing haymaker. And then he jumps up into the air and double kicks Godzilla, pushes him back further. He's his axe has gotten stuck in a building at this point. So what he does is he goes over to Godzilla, who's again charging up to do the thing, and then he takes the axe and shoves the handle down Godzilla's throat. It is so epic.
Yeah.
Which is a nice callback, actually. He does that in King Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh.
Except it's a tree.
Oh,
he picks up a tree by the roots and he stuffs it in Godzilla's throat. It's awesome, but it was nice to see that again.
This whole fight is so great. It's so dynamic, partially because like King Kong is constantly under pressure to make sure Godzilla never charges up, never does that beam, and when he does, all hell breaks loose, and then it's just King Kong trying frantically to dodge. But I just love the pressure and the tension that it gives this fight.
I love it when he takes Godzilla's head and he smacks it on his knee, and Godzilla lets out like a radiation like burp. Like, he just get like a little blast, like, he's like, and then a building explodes. I love that. You're right. That scene, for as much as it hurt me to see my king be degraded in such a fashion, I really enjoyed how vicious it was back and forth. It was great.
I would also like to point out as like an honorable mention what happens when Godzilla does finally unleash his atomic beam, and then it's just King Kong just so frantically like clinging and swinging on buildings, jumping around like he's magically avoiding this beam, and it is so much fun to see.
He's so like, it's incredible how kinetic he is. Mm-hmm. Just like how well they were able to make him move.
Yeah,
I mean, I wonder if 20 years from now we'll be looking back and be like, man, we thought that was amazing, but it was horrible. But
I wonder.
Yeah.
I also in that fight I kept thinking that with King Kong's like roars, I wish they'd subtitled it and it just said like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. I would have loved that. Yeah, I don't know, because I think Godzilla, weirdly enough, Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters and maybe Skull Island are going to age a little bit better because the effects are so much more about camera tricks, and King of the Monsters is not, it does not look like this movie at all. It feels really painterly, and it paints in that way, it paints in very broad strokes of light. So there's a big fight between Godzilla and King Ghidorah in a snowstorm, and it's such like intense snow that a lot of the detail is lost, and it actually looks better for that, because it looks much more impressionistic. And this one being so neon lit and being so crisp and detailed, I wonder if it's more like what you're saying, like it won't look great in 20 years.
Right. Yeah.
We've come so far.
Yeah.
Because the textures are so intense.
Like 20 years ago, we said that about, I don't know, like The Matrix, still holds up. Some of it, but some of it also, like, I mean, remember that scene when he fights all the Mr. Smiths?
It does look bendy and plasticky.
Dude, it looks like a video game from the early 2000s.
It does.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. And it doesn't hold up now.
What do you think, Jesse?
I don't know. I think it'll still hold up. Sometimes I take a look at like how far our graphics have come in terms of like video games. And if you take a look between the jump between like 81 and 2001, the jump is so significant. Like the type of video game you're playing would be foreign to anybody from the 80s. However, if you take a look at like games from 2001 on, I think the PlayStation 2 and GameCube and Xbox are all out at that point, versus now, like, it's more familiar. It doesn't look as good, but it's like the jump in graphics isn't that significant. So I think similarly there'll be a similar jump in technology in the next 20 years. I think people look back and be like, that's not as good as we have, but I can still really appreciate what's going on, just like I can still say that about like GameCube, PS2 and Xbox games.
I would like to revisit, maybe in a future episode we can do Peter Jackson's King Kong from 2005, because I did see that recently and it looked very, very good.
Really? Okay,
it looked very, very good. And of course, that movie cost $1 billion, but it shows. And there's still moments where you're like, okay, this is 2005, but it's still impressive. And we're nearing 20 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I think we'll return to that, especially as we move into this new calendar year and movies are kind of coming back.
Yeah.
And we're going to get these big budget movies. Yeah. We're going to be seeing just an absolute annihilation of CGI attacking your corneas. And I would like to kind of talk about that as we go on.
Okay, I have a question for you guys. So I think just to full disclosure, I have never seen a Godzilla movie before this one, not once.
It's such a disservice.
It just happened.
So
right? I don't know how I got to this point in my life and I hadn't seen one.
I am honor bound by the order of Zilla to decapitate you immediately.
Yes,
but I must forbear while my fellow brother speaks to you, speaks the truth unto ye.
Mike, I totally feel for you because this must be really confusing because not only is this movie number 4, but this is like, I don't know, year 80 of these characters being on screen. There's so much lore, but none of it really matters. There's not much going on. What you see on screen here is basically the lore we have thus far. If you don't get it, I'm sorry. I don't really think there's much more out there. In fact, the more I found myself trying to explain it to my wife, who, came out while I was watching it because she refused to watch it with me. She just saw a brief glimpse. And I started explaining to her, oh yeah, King Kong is on a boat because they are... he's going to take them and lead them to the Hollow Earth so that they can go get something they want. But here comes Godzilla, who, for some reason, is going to attack them. And then later that night, I had to, comfort my daughter or whatever. So I paused the movie, and then she had heard what was happening, that I was watching something. So she's like, oh, what movie are you watching, Dad? And I was like, well, I'm watching a movie about a big monkey who is as tall as a building and a giant lizard that is also as tall as a building, and it breathes lasers from its mouth, and also a robot lizard that is also as tall as a building and also is able to breathe lasers from its mouth. And she just looked at me and was like, Dad, I don't want to watch that movie.
That's fair, kid. That's fair.
Speaking for all the women in our lives.
Yeah, my wife usually joins me for the movies that we cover on our pod. I've lost her as of lately because of the Logan and the Hellboy and the Godzilla. I'm hoping she comes back into the fold at a certain point. But it's felt a little alienating that I have to just watch these things by myself and I cheer and there's no one around me. Usually my wife is there to be like, that's an overreaction. I appreciate her for that. Shout out to you, honey. Boy, so we could get into a couple other things, but I think that we might have spent we spent too long talking about Godzilla versus Kong, and I've mostly just been enjoying laughing with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
This movie, you can watch it if you want to. It's on HBO Max for the next several weeks. We're recording this on a Thursday. It'll be dropping on Monday. You'll still have about 3 weeks left to see it. It's also in theaters. If going to theaters is an option or is attractive to you, I would probably say you might enjoy it most on the largest screen with the loudest sound possible.
Yeah. I'd be down to going to see this in the movie theaters.
I would leave at certain moments for about 15 minutes now that I've seen the movie twice.
Yeah, I mean, now like, hey, I can get a bathroom break. I can go get popcorn.
Whatever. Yeah, I could do a lot,
you could leave the theater, come back in.
But I'm giving it the 3 stars, and I stand by him for the sheer spectacle. And maybe it's COVID kind of starvation. Like, I've just been dying to see a big, dumbass movie, and I was just given to it, and I loved it. I loved the experience of watching it. But in about a year, I'll probably hate this movie.
I mean, how cathartic was it when he crushes that freaking
Isaac Gonzalez,
like the baddest person in the movie, just like crush.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes.
They all just get killed. It was so cool.
I know. I like that.
It was like, yeah, we don't have to worry about like, hey, it would be nice if, we were nice to bad guys. It's like, no, kill them all.
Yeah, I love how in this movie, anybody who's done anything remotely bad, they just instantly die.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
Yep. Not coming back.
Unlike King of Monsters, where Charles Dance and Vera Farmiga linger for so long. Oh, so long.
Ooh, I also want to know, are we still doing our favorite plot hole sections?
I thought we did. Are there more?
Yeah, I've actually got a big scene that has like 3 plot hole or continuity errors all in a row. It's terrible.
Okay.
Oh, I want to know.
So this scene starts out with Godzilla finally defeating Kong. I think Kong is on the ground and they can somehow hear his heartbeat. And it is slowing down. Hasn't stopped. It's just slowing down. And then they decide to use their craft like it's an
EKG machine.
Yeah, like an EKG.
Yes, that's it. An EKG machine. And the thing about EKG machines is they're not supposed to be used on hearts that are still beating. Because, as everyone knows, if you pump somebody full of electricity, you stop their heart. So this should stop King Kong's heart when they put it on him because his heartbeat has not stopped yet.
Yep. Because it usually stops it. Yeah, that's why you don't do it.
Imagine the number of people who are going to die because of this movie.
Do you want to know what it's like to have a heart that's maybe like take your resting heart rate at its lowest point, right?
Yeah.
Quite small. Then if you would like to, grab onto one leg each of a 220 20 amp breaker, right? That's hooked up. It will be something like that, but just try and multiply it by a lot more voltage.
But he's big.
You'll die.
But he's like super big though.
But you'll die.
Yeah.
Because hearts don't like electricity on them.
But he runs off of pure undiluted energy that's
true.
Blue.
It's your blue energy.
Blue energy, which means that the rules don't necessarily apply to
And also,
King
we
Kong.
don't even know if it's normal electricity because it's blue.
Yeah, it's blue. It's not... Well, no, it's kind of nuclear.
It goes blue. Okay, what was the other ones, Jesse?
Yeah, so the second issue with this scene is primarily that Alexander Skarsgård's character has expressly stated that he is not a Marine. He doesn't know how to use guns. He doesn't really know anything. He just sits down and writes books. He's made that abundantly clear, and here he is piloting this ship. And it's a miracle that he knows how to do it in the first place, and also that he knows how that weird thingamajig works, the EKG part of the ship works, so that way they can, heal or whatever Kong's heart. This just doesn't make sense, and doesn't make sense that he's able to accomplish what he wants to do on Kong's heart.
To upgrade it. They're upgrading his heart. Also, I thought the real issue too is when Godzilla, my favorite action moment, when he steps on Kong, I distinctly heard ribs cracking. So I thought the issue was that Kong probably punctured a lung, his chest cavity's filling up with blood. Like, this is the issue?
Yeah, I don't think the heart is the only concern with Kong right now. But anyway, that was the second part, is Alexander Skarsgård piloting. And then the third part is he pilots the ship on top of Kong's chest. And Kong's chest, as we know, is very tall. But then the next scene shows him running on the ground. How on earth in 2 seconds did he get from the top of Kong's chest to the ground?
Yep.
He slid down the arm,
I mean, there's no, Legolas, sliding down Kong's arm like you're saying. No, he just appears. It really bugged me when I saw it, and I find it really annoying and super lazy. This is just lazy writing.
So those are your 3 scenes.
Yeah, no, I'd say...
No, not quite 3 scenes. This is a 1 scene, and all these things happen super quickly. One right after the other. That's why it just has to be pointed out.
Oh,
That's right. That's right.
In my mind, Alexander Skarsgård character had a twin brother, because he goes from being a decrepit school teacher, professor who writes lame books, who's really sad because his brother died.
Yep.
And his brother was probably the cool one, and
Yep.
all this stuff.
Oh,
I don't know
for
if we
sure.
know anything about him.
I think
or
we
saw
see some
that.
pictures
But
of Alexander Skarsgård.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden he's just this military dude who's ripped, and he's commanding. He's we're doing this, we're doing that.
And he's wearing, of course, the standard military issued outfit, which has the most buckles and straps possible.
Yeah,
Very
of course.
sleek, nice armor.
It's
I
tactical.
don't know why he's wearing armor.
To protect himself
from what?
I don't know.
From Kong? May as well just wear flip flops and a tee, dude.
Yeah, so that's in my mind. That's
one.
what I made sense of it. He's got
That's
a
a
twin
good
brother.
Well, ludicrously stupid. Very fun.
Very fun.
And if you've listened this far without having seen the movie, I doubt you're going to. But if you did tune out and you've come back and you've watched the movie and you're nodding your head and you're laughing along with us and saying, ho, 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 those NYFM guys, they sure know how to pick apart a movie. Also know we did enjoy ourselves.
Yes.
We enjoyed the experience.
It was very fun.
And this is the sort of thing that when we would all hang out together in our younger days, we would have all gone immediately to the nearest drinking hole and then argued about it in loud fashion for hours.
Yeah, I mean, I do like this movie is a lot of fun, and it kind of insults my intelligence a little bit, but it's a whole lot of fun to see. But the one thing that really bugs me is for a movie called Godzilla versus Kong, I wish that we had actually gotten a conclusion to this fight. I wish not just for Kong's heart to have slowed down, but for one of these characters to have finally died.
With no dangling participles at the end of our story. I agree. But we will definitely be seeing a new Monsterverse movie soon.
I wonder if they're going to form like a Monster Avengers.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Who would they fight, though? I mean, they already beat King Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla.
Probably they're going to get like some new monsters. Maybe it's going to cross over with the MCU. What if they have to...
My eyes hurt already. Like...
Yeah, eventually it's going to have to upgrade to something like Monster Planet.
Monster Planet.
Monster Planet!
That'd be great.
Yeah.
With Captain Planet. Save the Earth! And he gets stepped on.
Yeah, I really wish they didn't have to do any crossovers, though. In fact, I wish in this movie, like, we would have had, like, a better setup for another sequel. Like, Kong dies, and then the sequel is, like, Son of Kong.
That would have been cool.
I would have liked that.
Where would the son have come from? Clone. It would have been a clone.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, it would have made, like, an event movie. This would have been less of, like, a stereotypical, like, dumb blockbuster, and instead, like, had a real heart and soul at the end, which is, like, here's this character called Kong, who we've known for the past 80 years, and he dies. But we know it's not over, because his son is coming up next, and that would be exciting. I would want to see that.
You fixed the movie.
Dang.
That was it.
Good.
That's what I would have wanted to see. Yeah.
I'd watch that.
I want the movie to end with her walking into a lab and Rebecca Hall signing to her that she has something special to show her, and the door opens and it's a little Kong who runs up and she picks him up.
Oh man, that is so heavy.
That would be heartbreaking, man. That would have hurt. That would have been really... I don't even know what I would have done. Like, I would have just stood up and left. I couldn't handle that being at the end of this movie.
I would
like, that's way too...
It would have been great.
Wow. That would have been so good. We should have done that.
Yeah, okay. If any of the creators of Legendary Pictures Monsterverse in association with Warner Entertainment would like to come and talk to us about ways that your franchise can move, we've already name dropped you in the episode. We're available.
We are.
Yeah.
Very available.
I got nothing else. That's why I'm recording a podcast.
Nothing but availability.
Well, Jesse, would you start us off in answering our final question? Is this a dad movie?
First, I have to apologize because my kids are crying in the background. I think one of them bumped their head, and now my wife is taking care of it. They're fine. But to continue, well, I've thought a lot about this. And at the end of the day, I think I've got to say, it's got a lot of dad elements in it. Specifically, like, how many times has my younger self or any male said, who would beat who in a fight? King Kong versus Godzilla or Batman versus Superman. This is one of those amazing, like, mind-blowing mashups, and it's got giant monsters on screen, and I love giant monsters. I've always loved giant monsters. And it's a dumb blockbuster with cool action. But at the end of the day, I've got to say, it's not a dad movie. This is just too stupid. The writers were a little too lazy at parts. It feels like it's just not a good enough movie for me to really want to show it to my kids, period. So no, I'm going to say this is not a dad movie.
I'm going to rhyme with you. I'm going to agree. I I will eventually watch this with my kids, but it's going to be one of those things. I don't think it's going to be a movie night. I think it's going to be like, unless I can hype this up somehow and my kids can want to sit through the first Godzilla, which I can't imagine they're going to want to do. And then they watch Skull Island and their minds are freaking blown because that movie rules. And then to watch King of Monsters, where now they're kind of let down and they're kind of like, what are we doing? I can only imagine, like, unless they're in that donut hole at the very youngest edge of the donut hole, then they would think all of them are great, right?
The hollow hole, the hollow donut hole.
Yes.
Hollow donut hole.
The hollow donut hole.
No, it's just hollow donut hole. Come on, there's no the here.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got to say, this series as a whole, too, is also pretty violent. Like, it is not something I really want to show young children. There's a lot of, like, extra violent stuff, especially in Skull Island with the belching of bones and the bamboo going through a dude's head. It's just not for kids until they're quite a bit older.
Out of all of them, that's the only one that I would full on call a dad movie, and I would be very excited to show that to my kids. So yeah, this is a no from me. It's even a no on the basis of something I would watch by myself, because I would have seen it for sure for my own viewing, but it's not one I'd watch again of my own volition, really. So I'm going to say no, despite having a lot of enthusiasm for a lot of parts.
I'm waffly on this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't.
You're the one that cared least.
I don't care about showing it to my kids.
Then
like,
no.
But at the same time, like, I feel in a lot of ways this is the sort of movie where it's like, it's late at night, dad is watching, like, just has a TV on and is just surfing channels. It's like, oh yeah, this one. Remember when that came out? Just kind of like watches it sort of in the background. Not by choice, but just because it's all they have. But it's weird.
It's the faintest of faint praise.
It's funny. We've talked about channel surfing a couple times in this episode, and it's like, we don't channel surf, though. I only watch, like, whatever's on Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever, stuff that's on demand. I don't channel surf, and I kind of miss it because, like, if it hadn't been for this podcast, I probably wouldn't have seen Godzilla versus Kong. And frankly, like, it's only through, like, being forced to watch some of these movies that I even encountered them. It's only through channel surfing that I saw any of the older Godzilla movies. I would never have really intentionally gone out and bought them.
Yeah. Well, that's what's kind of fascinating about what's different between us and, like, the last couple of generations of people who had movies and TV. Like we have it on demand, whereas, like, they just sort of had to take whatever they were given.
Yeah, we're like the last generation that remembers channel surfing.
Yeah,
but we don't do it.
Yeah, we don't do it. I haven't had TV in years.
My entire adult life, I have not had TV.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, that's neat.
Well, now that you've gotten on the one hand, on the other hand, and then on the other hand, where have you ended up in all your hands?
I've got too many hands.
That is the biggest
I think
problem.
I'm the monster. No, it's not a dad movie. It's not this dad's movie.
Wait.
It is like a daddy movie, though.
It is
like,
a daddy movie, and there are dads that will love it.
Do we really need to say daddy movie? Can't we just say, like, dad elements?
It's a Daddy Godzilla, Daddy Kong. Here they are.
Yeah, exactly.
But question then, is this the first time that we have all said this is not a dad movie? I think it is.
What about it? Was it a dad movie?
No.
First off, I'm just going to go on record and say it was definitely a dad movie. We definitely voted that way. And listeners, please look us up and correct them because they are wrong. Next, we have unanimously decided before that Trial of Chicago 7 and The Little Things were not dad movies. Basically, our other new releases.
New releases.
Come on, Hollywood! You're really letting us dads down here. I feel like you're not speaking to our demographic anymore. What's going on? What's going on here?
I like that in, like, the hardest year for the movie industry maybe ever, we're like, I hate this stuff. Give us different stuff.
It's not big and bold and whatever enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah.
Well, okay. Well, then for the third time, although I feel like Letney, I think, said it was a dad movie.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So we only have two Universal not a dad movies, right?
You didn't say it was a dad movie?
I said it was a dad movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that wasn't Universal then. Wait, what was the other Universal one? Oh, Little Things. Little Things. Yeah.
Little Things.
Okay,
Universally
Little Things.
not a dad movie.
But like for very different reasons. But both of them are also like geared up to be dad movies.
They are.
Which is weird.
They both were aimed squarely at men from 18 to 60.
Yeah, exactly.
And
The Little Things was just bad.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be good. This was like not good and not supposed to be good.
I think what we saw is exactly what they intended.
Yeah, exactly.
Like perfectly.
Fun as anything.
I think what we see is what the creative team behind This Is the Final Time, Legendary Pictures Monsterverse in association with Warner Brothers Entertainment intended to put on our screens. It was not meant to be the Avengers. I think it's just another chapter.
Yeah.
And we're going to get another one in like 2 years. And then after that, we're going to get another one in like 2 years. I think they just mean to just keep doing this in the Toho style. Like just put them out every couple years. Here's a new Godzilla thing. And like, let's deepen the story. And now there's like a telepathic girl. Oh, she communicates with Godzilla. Okay. You know, I don't think it was meant to be an event. And I think that in the release schedule for HBO Max and theaters being shut down, sort of retroactively, the studios were like, this is an event. It's Godzilla versus Kong. It's the fight to end all fights. And then the movie is not that because, I mean, I don't think they meant it to be.
Yeah, but it's the idea that this is just another episode that really irritates me, because this sort of mentality is what stopped me from even liking, you know, MCU superhero movies for a while, because it just felt so dull. I hate it when there's a movie like this that's so big, so grand, and then at the end of the day, nothing significant happens. Like, it just bores me.
And I think we'll be touching on that conversation much more in depth when we cover some of the MCU offerings that will come out later this year. I think that'll be a really great place to hash that out.
Yeah, I agree.
But from all of us here, I'm Vito.
I'm Mike.
I'm Jesse.
Good night.